Yeah, so anyway, we're going to watch Inside Star Citizen. Then we'll check out the sale. So I keep having this Windows problem. Let's, take 2. Here we go. ISC.
Going to do something that we've not done in Star Citizen before. You're going to be forcibly boarding another ship.
You know, with the ships, it's always an advancement, right? So the Anvil Legionnaire is our new ship. It's a boarding ship.
But none of those were the Legionnaire, so that was just like a little machinima showing what it could be like, I guess.
For a 2-man crew, and then 8 people in the back. And basically, it's essentially for a hostile takeover. I think this is a very sort of iconic-looking ship. We did some really cool stuff in like the experimental phase. We had like sort of crazy arms and things that could basically sort of latch onto ships. But I mean, ultimately, because you've got to take into account all the other ships that are in the universe that can be boarded.
Look at the escape pod. They were thinking of that, it looks like, a couple times.
You kind of have to come up with a really sort of simple universal system, which is kind of why on this Legionnaire it is such a simple mechanic, essentially.
The Legionnaire fills a gap in our lineup for both more lawful and less lawful careers where you need to take charge of another person's ship. Traditional flow for ship-to-ship docking is the person who wants to dock to the other ship requests it from the parent ship, and it's on the parent ship's pilot to accept or deny that, whereas the Legionnaire has onboard hacking abilities using the hacking minigame to perhaps forcibly override that acceptance and allowing it to happen instead.
That's not how I would have thought this would have gone. At all. Okay, that's interesting. I thought that it would have basically been, why would you need hacking? Was what I was thinking is you would just disable a ship and then dock to it. And if the ship is disabled, you just connect to it. That's what I assumed, but at least it's not a hacking laser. They haven't made hacking yet. You don't know, you know?
For players that are on the lawful side, its prime use is bounty hunting. For those perhaps with more military focus, it is like Anvil's dedicated military boarding ship. And for those on the other side of the spectrum, piracy is its main role. So you are there able to attach and board other ships and take.
So this is how many guns does it have? Because I don't see it being a bounty hunting ship, because most of the people you'd be bountying are going to be in combat ships. I don't see that working out. I see this being an NPC bounty hunting ship, maybe. So it only has the turrets. Okay. Yeah, this is weird. If there's no front-facing guns, I see it as maybe being like an NPC bounty ship. And that could be really cool, right? Disable the ship, board it, NPC, take them out, knock them out, whatever, and then that's your bounty. But for player bounties, I don't see it, but I think that doesn't mean that the NPC bounties aren't going to be fun. They're kind of like boring and repetitive now, but I imagine elements like this would make it kind of unique, kind of exciting, pretty cool,
Their crew, goods, or ship itself.
So like good and bad?
That's the Anvil Legionnaire. Looking forward to this one because it's a ship that appeals to both sides of the law. It brings with it a new side to an existing gameplay loop or existing gameplay loops. It expands upon them. And it's something that I know a lot of players have been waiting for a long time, is that the ability to board other ships forcibly, because it takes away that safety a lot of players have at the moment, where I'm safe on my ship, no one's coming on here without destroying me.
But that's not how it works now. This is the thing. Like, is it just a bug that we can bust into other ships with weapons? Right? And it's like, is it a bug that they left in because it allows for some decent gameplay for people now? I'm confused.
So people are really going to have to start thinking twice when these things hit the persistent universe.
Invictus Launch Week is back, starting tomorrow as we welcome the UEE Naval Fleet to the Planet Crusader for this year's event. Now, throughout the festivities, you can test fly military vehicles for free, experience new releases like the Anvil Legionnaire, rediscover old favorites, and tour an in-service Javelin destroyer. But how did it come to be in the fiction of our persistent universe? Let's go now to members of the narrative team to learn more.
Lore!
I think a lot of people still find Invictus inspiring, and I think people need to know that the Navy's there protecting them, and I think getting to go to these events, getting to tour these large ships.
Oh, he's talking about like in lore. Okay, because I was like, I don't think anybody finds this inspiring, but
and
okay.
Seeing how strong the UAE is very reassuring to a lot of the citizens and civilians in the UAE.
When Invictus originated, it was way back in 2542, and this was about a year into the First Tavaran War.
Tavaran War was the first time that the humans actually needed to organize a straight-up military.
So you imagine then you have this war kicking off, they need to recruit a bunch of starmen, you have these, farmers, these people from the city who need to get to boot camp and had no way of getting there.
Because ships weren't as widespread or as common among the public at that time.
The ship named the Invictus was tasked with going around to all the systems and gathering up the recruits.
As a way to not only kind of like drum up some support for the war effort, but to also bring them into a basic training.
Okay.
And
that's actually kind of cool. That's where the name comes from.
How this event started. It would be this kind of big week of all the families saying goodbye to the young recruits reporting to war, and it kind of evolved from there.
So over the years, under the Messer regime, some criticized their Invictus events as being a little too political, a little bit too focused on the propaganda. But once the Messer regime fell in 2792, the event returned back to its roots about focusing on the Navy and the support and the really cool ships and equipment that they use in the defense of the Empire.
Invictus in the toy era started to be reshaped into the Invictus we know today, where there was a push to remake the Navy, to make it a noble institution once again. And so I think this more kind of celebratory aspect of recruitment and showing people what the Navy was all about, putting these ships on display, showing that we are united in purpose.
U.S. propaganda doesn't even go this hard?
No, there still
hard.
are detractors to Invictus. There was a great showdown post that we had that showed like people think it's spending too much of the public's money, that it's really just free advertising for the ship manufacturers, putting forth kind of a false front rather than showing the Navy how it really is.
The modern view of Invictus, I think, is still that sort of aspirational. It's meant to be that sort of thing of, it's a celebration of duty in a way.
It has a lot of kind of really fun family-friendly elements to it, including very cool like stunt flying done by the 999 famous Reckless Squadron.
I mean, it's always cool to see
Angels.
Gigantic, powerful military ships up close and in person.
I think the way that the UEE is approaching it, as this is, again, a way for people to come together to celebrate those who are putting something on the line.
So in general, it's kind of a staple event of the UEE every year, and something that a lot of people around the Empire look forward to.
So what did we learn about this week? Well, we learned that the Anvil Legionnaire is the first ship dedicated to breaching and boarding other ships.
We learned that it was a ship
isn't
sail
always
week.
the nice thing to do, but sometimes necessary. And that Invictus Launch Week has become a mainstay of the persistent universe over the years, as well as your chance to tour the interior of a Javelin destroyer, if you're into that sort of thing. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. That's the new Manchester office. Maybe we'll go inside next week. We will. See you then.
Okay. I hope... I got a lot of comments about the inside of that thing. Is this what this meme was about yesterday on Twitter, dude? Oh my god. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Okay. Well, the Legionnaire looks pretty cool. I still definitely have some questions. I'm sure there'll be a Q&A that pops up. But yeah, let's check out the sale page for it, because maybe some of those questions get answered there, perhaps. So here's the sale page, which is board and take control, hack, lock on, take over. When operation calls for rapid recovery of an enemy occupied vehicle or station, the Legionnaire or station is ready for duty with 8 drop seats, versatile docking options, and advanced security infiltration system. Even the most difficult boardings are viable with the Legionnaire in your fleet. So I think it makes a lot more sense when they say or station, the hacking side, right? Because the station's stationary, you would need to hack to allow you to dock, even though you don't have permission, things like that, right? That's kind of cool. This picture shows maybe a look at the hacking mechanic. It's tough to see, though, but that is a little bit of what they had shown to us. Legionnaire's integrated infiltration systems empower operators to stealthily disable security measures on target vessels, leaving them vulnerable to docking, boarding, and seizure. Legionnaire's 2-in-1 docking collar connects to all UEE standard apertures, allowing for the infiltration of vessels and facilities of all sizes. And there's the 8 seats. And yeah, there's built-in storage for weapons. Okay. And then I heard it has 3 size 1 shields. And people were kind of like, that's not good enough, apparently, is the vibe I got. 3 shields seems pretty good. And then there is something that I saw. It has heavy armor as well. So 3 size 1s is comparable to 1 size 2. Okay. And I guess it gives more shield faces then, eventually, when that's a thing. And then on top of that, it also has heavy armor. So that's a thing. People are asking, well, how do you stop a ship from moving? There's going to be tractor beams on ships soon. I'm surprised there isn't one on this. And it may be that something changes with the way disabled ships act in the future as well. But I don't know. And then there's just a gallery of concept art. Yeah, I don't really have much of an interest here either. I don't know what the length falls under, like about what size a ship is this? 32 meters? What's comparable to a 32-meter ship? I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, again, no weapons. About an Ares Ion, okay. And the price, $100. This fits on extra small pads. Does that mean we could spawn it at ground locations currently? That's pretty cool. And then I think the paint is nice because I like just like really midnight black paints, midnight blue and dark paints on ships. I think that looks cool. Nice. Those are extra small. Okay. Gotcha. Well, it's interesting, but I don't know it. I think we need to see. They mentioned Bounty Hunter V2 in the letter for the chairman yesterday. I think when we know more about that, then I think we will be a little bit. I think I'll be able to appreciate the ship more. I think maybe after a Q&A, I'll be able to appreciate the ship more. But I think this is where I stand with the Legionnaire right now is $100 is an incredible amount of money to spend on a little ship in a video game that just boards things, right? And it's a concept ship. We have no idea when this concept will be realized. And that's where I stand with it. It's kind of like, okay, moving on. Looking forward to Invictus and things that are actually in the game.